Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one knows quite the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on right, or it could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was two sizes too small.
All right, do your nuns thing and I'll go from there.
You mean the 999 nuns interning in an Indiana I couldn't even do it. Boy, you need to practice. Do you mean the 999 nuns interning in an Indiana It's in an Indiana. That's the hard part. It's 999 nuns interning in an Indiana nunnery.
Yeah, that's way too slow though.
Crushed it. 999 nuns interning in an Indiana nunnery. You try that. It's not easy. 999 nuns interning in an
Goodbye.
All right.
Get serious. Come on.
Here we go. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Disorganized Religion Podcast, or otherwise known as the hashtag
Derp.
The DRP or the DERP. We're glad to welcome you once again to another episode. I am joined, as always, by my faithful companions, now in little squares on my screen.
Eric Johnson and
Deshaun Jones.
Deshaun preaching again yesterday. He's on tour all over the place, blowing up big time. Yesterday preached about the end of the world to kick off Advent. Merry Christmas, everybody. Although I will say that, for anyone who was not sure, now I can officially say that it is the Christmas season and you are allowed to listen to Christmas songs. So,
just now?
Well, I mean, biblically, it's as of when you see Santa Claus coming down the street at the end of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That is the official start of Christmas. That is when you're officially allowed to listen to Christmas songs. That's when you can decorate for Christmas, even though, as Deshaun said in his sermon yesterday, world's going to hell in a handbasket, so everyone did it way before then. So.
I must be a heretic because I've been listening to Christmas music since night after Halloween, man.
Halloween?
Yeah, November 1st starts my Christmas
You're ruining
season.
Christmas.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I liked your comment at worship yesterday when asked if we could decorate the church a little bit early. And you stated, yeah, why not? Because even if we start last week, we're still the last people on the planet to decorate their spaces.
Pretty much. Yeah, would it be okay if we decorated, a few days before Thanksgiving? That's right. We do that, we'll still be the last ones in town to decorate for Christmas. So.
And I'm beginning to worry a little bit about myself because I'm more like the Grinch when it comes to the Christmas music. It still seems too early to me.
Right now seems too early?
Yeah, I sort of like to wait almost like the week before Christmas before I voluntarily listen to any Christmas music.
Gotcha. Well, sorry, at church we've gone full Christmas. It is Advent. We are underway, and we are doing a series called "The Heart That Grew Three Sizes," based on the Bible, but also using. In case anyone's saying, "Oh, heretics are preaching about the Grinch," it's the Bible, but we are using the Grinch Who Stole Christmas from Dr. Seuss as as a metaphor for our own growth that we can go through during the Christmas season.
And at the service, you described the character that you brought up as the Grinchiest Grinch in Scripture. What were you
That's
basing
right.
that off
If
of?
you're going to look for the Grinchiest Grinch of all the Grinches in the Christmas story in the Bible, you have to go with King Herod. And so he was the star of the story that we shared yesterday. I mean, you think about it. Guy was married 10 times. he had 15 male children, and the year it's mid 20s BC. They tell him, listen, you can pick your successor. So he has all these people to choose from, and they're all sort of jockeying for position to get his blessing as the one who's going to be chosen as the successor. 3 of his kids he actually kills because he's just annoyed that they're trying to usurp, well, I guess not usurp him, just waiting for him to die. By the time Jesus is born, he is in his 70s. He is in bad health. He has changed his will 7 times. One guy mentioned in the traditional service, you forgot to mention that he had 10 mothers-in-law. I said, well, hold on, my mother-in-law is a nice lady, but I get what you're saying there. So so just a miserable dude. I said what he would have eaten the Grinch for breakfast. He was pretty miserable. So, if I told him great dad jokes, he still wouldn't even laugh. King Herod, he's that bad.
What?
Like, for example, if I were to tell King Herod, "Hey, King Herod, I found a clog." I just killed the joke.
Now it's
Erase
actually
that.
funny. No, now
Erase
it's actually
that.
fun. Go ahead, tell it. I'm leaving that
in. So if I told King Herod, "Hey, King Herod, I found a wooden shoe in a toilet," he would say, "A wooden shoe?" And I would say, "Yeah, it was a clog." You got to take out that misfire in the beginning there. That's going to kill the whole joke. Or I could give you some more. I seem to only get sick on weekdays because I have a weekend immune system.
I feel like you used that one before.
Did I?
Yeah, bad joke.
Okay. So this morning, my phone told me, "Hey, don't call me Shirley," because I left it in airplane mode.
Ooh, that's I like that one. I got that one. That took.
Deshaun, that's a movie that came out 10 years before you were born. So we'll have to add a segment of the podcast to things that young Deshaun should have to learn about culture to really be, a well-informed college graduate when his time comes.
Be careful.
I think watching Airplane would be a requirement. Have you ever seen Airplane, Deshaun?
I have not.
So you get ready to live. We should definitely have him do that.
Well, be careful because he could turn that around on us, and he could bring things to the podcast that you and I should be
That's
aware
true.
of that we are not.
That's true.
I
have 2 kids. I have 2 kids his age that can do that for me. So, but now if he wants to pile on some more, that's fine. It's fine. What wouldn't be nice is if a hotel tried to charge me extra for running the air conditioner. That's not cool. So recently I had a disagreement with my staff. And when I say disagreement, I mean I was on one side and everyone else was on the other. And I thought I would bring this topic to the podcast today so that since Eric is on the staff and he disagreed with me, Deshaun can perhaps break the tie. We discussed the value of becoming a member of a church. Now, I thought there is some value in becoming a member of the church. The rest of the staff thought that was not all that valuable, as evidenced by how many people flood us with interest whenever I share that the new member class is beginning again soon. Doesn't seem like there's a stampede of people rushing to the new member class. And so we were working on diagnosing that problem, and the staff said, "No one cares." And I said, "They should care." And everyone said, "They probably really shouldn't." And so I thought we could bring that up today as a...
Well, I'm not sure that you're presenting my side of the argument in fairness there, or the side of the staff's argument. So yes, we had a spirited conversation at staff meeting. And it's not all that unusual, Matt. It seems that you're on one side and the entire staff is on the other side. But I
I
digress.
had no idea how badly they needed me when I got here, but we'll get them there.
So our point of view was, what is the benefit to the church going person who comes to Heritage all the time, is participating in all the ministries? What is the desire, the need, the what, say this selfishly, but what do I get out of it if I do join the church? And so we sort of struggled to answer that. And we got to the point where we couldn't really come up with a whole lot of tangible benefits other than when the church comes to some critical decision-making process. They will call a church conference and have a vote about about whatever the specific topic is. So if you want to be able to participate in that voting process, then you need to be a member. But perhaps not for much of anything else.
So that's a decent argument. However, so I would say that where we've gone wrong over the years has been that we have separated coming to Christ from connection to the local church. There was never, ever intended to be any separation there, right? But I would say over the last 100 years or so, we've had TV preachers who might lead someone to Christ in their living room, right? And there's no mechanism for that person to connect with the church. Maybe they're scrolling something on the bottom of the screen saying, "Hey, call this number and join a church." So there could be that. You've had parachurch organizations. I came to Christ through Campus Crusade for Christ in college. It's called Cru now, which is a way cooler branding of that. But I came to Christ through Campus Crusade, and then I began to borrow my friends' churches, and I would go, travel around with them and go to different churches every week. Which it was fine. I met nice people there, but I didn't actually find a church that actually told me to join or told me about joining until I went to a Methodist church. We all know by now that I went to my first Methodist church because of the cute girls. A girl invited me. I went to the church. We're married now. So I've always said the Methodist church has done well by me. I got a career and a wife out of it. So if you're looking for the right church for you, I highly recommend the United Methodist Church. Still trying to win Deshaun over to the dark side, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so I feel like I'll say that local churches have probably not done the best job of evangelism over the last 100 years because it has become it's become an experience that is really measured and evaluated by the church members all the time, and you've gotten to this place where everyone's sort of shopping for the church that meets their desires for the church goods and services they want to consume, which is why it's easy to get stuck when you're on a church staff spending so much time trying to avoid making anyone unhappy, right? The reason to not do something is, well, this so-and-so won't like that, or so-and-so won't like that. And, and so we're afraid to shepherd people, right? We're afraid to tell people, well, this is the way you should go. Maybe we're afraid of losing people if we challenge them too much. Maybe we're afraid of losing people if they don't enjoy the production, so whatever the reason is, we have not done a good job of making coming to Christ a regular part of the church experience. So maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's where parachurch ministries and TV evangelism came from, right? Is that they were trying to lead people to Christ. But I feel like the whole idea of coming to Christ apart from being in the church is just has never been a part of the design. So when you join a church, like those two things should be concurrent. Coming to Christ and joining the church should be the same exact thing. So that's why, I mean, obviously, sometimes you move, you get transferred to some new town because of your work or whatever, and so you switch churches and join that way. But really, they should be the same thing. Becoming a Christian and the same thing.
Well, I mean, seeing that the model is what it is. Hold on, let me switch the camera over. So I was going to say, your argument is you're linking coming to Christ and church membership together, and I think that would be a valid connection point if that local church were the organization that led you to Christ. So that seems like a natural follow-on. If you were looking for some spiritual need in your life, you stumble across Heritage, you started coming to worship here and met some people, got involved, and you decide to come to Christ and give your heart and soul over, that you would be inclined to join that, to formally join that church. But there's not a lot of people that come to Christ that way anymore, and that's part to your point, that a lot of people are coming to Christ through other church organizations, parachurch organizations, campuses. I also came to Christ through Campus Crusade. And then they look for a local church wherever they happen to be living or where they move, and they begin attending that community. So that connection between the group or the people that helped you come to Christ and the church that you end up joining isn't always there.
All right, so Deshaun, having heard these two compelling arguments, who's better? just kidding. Where do you come down on the whole membership situation?
Eric, you've made some compelling arguments, but I think that the future pastor in me is going to have to side with Matt. I've got a few reasons. First, as a college student, I'm not officially a member of any church up in DC. So I'm a floater. And, having been a part of Mount Olive for, 18 years, my entire life, and, having officially joined that church when I was around 12, 13, it's been something that I'm invested in, deeply invested in seeing Mount Olive continue to grow, continue to do ministry, and continue to survive as a church body. And I think that's something that I lack up in DC. I don't have any roots up there. I'm not officially a part of any church, so I come and go as I please. And at the end of the day, I don't believe that I am extremely invested in seeing either of those churches that I frequent up there, just grow and thrive. And so I think that's a huge part of becoming a member of a church, so that you are invested in that ministry and in the continuation of that ministry. And I think that there are also just benefits to church membership that come with discipleship and accountability. Having people to look for you. And I think it's easier to track members than it is for those who just sneak into the back pew and sneak out before the benediction. So I think it's easier to track members, easier to follow up with them. If you've got a member that you haven't seen in a while, it's easier to get a class leader or somebody like that to follow up with them, make sure they're doing okay. So I think those are my reasons that, from personal experience, like I see that my commitment to, the churches that I visit up in DC is just not full, because I don't have membership there. So I don't have a stake in that church, in that congregation. I benefit from it. I enjoy worshiping with them. But, week to week and day to day, it's not something that's like deeply engraved on my heart to make sure that church is doing well. But with not all of it is, because it's something that, I have a deep root in. So, yeah, I think those accountability and that commitment.
That's a great series of points. and not just because you agree with me, but because, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a big difference between, where you go to church and which one is your church. Right? I think Deshaun describes really well what it means for something to be your church. Like you feel responsible for it, right? If there's something happening that could hurt it or help it, like that's going to be a motivator for you to get involved and do something. If you're at a church where you're visiting, yeah, I mean, and being in college is a good example of being in another town temporarily and going, to one. You probably would help out there because someone asked you to do them a solid and you're a nice person, right? But not because you feel the burden of the responsibility to grow the church or to help it accomplish its mission, right? So yeah, so I feel like that whole feeling of this church is my church and its mission is my mission too. That's the thing that happens when you become a member. But we could probably sell it better. Yeah. So, well, I'll tell you what. So as you continue driving down the road or sitting multitasking with our podcast on, and if you're not a member of a church somewhere, or if you've been attending for a while, maybe give that some thought. Maybe that's something for you to choose to do. If you're a church leader, take stock of how many people flood your new member class every time you offer it. And maybe there's something for us to do to either sell that better, explain that better, or just generally do that better. So definitely something for the church to reflect on philosophically, but also to execute better as well. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to us wherever you are tuning in from. As always, we're thankful for you to tune in and join us here on the DRP. As always, thankful for my partners in crime, Deshaun and Eric. Take care. God bless. We'll see you again really soon.
See ya.
Derp.